So today we're going to continue with week 6 of our meditation class, and we will be talking about what we covered last week. Okay. So to begin the class, does anyone have any questions? No? From your practice? If not, let's recap the 5 factors of experience. Okay. So for now, as always, you can choose either to have your feet crossed or you can have it down. But just remember that we're going to do some standing meditation and walking meditation. Okay, who can help us understand the 5 factors of experience covered last week? Everyone's very shy today. Anyway, to recap, we understand that our experience, or human experience per se, is pretty much 1 part body, 4 part mind. Okay, so experience is, a lot of it has to do with the working of the mind. So what it also means is, because the mind is very fluid, the mind is very flexible, it means that our experiences can be controlled by ourselves to some degree. Okay, as long as we adjust certain elements of this mind, then the experience will play out very differently. Okay, we all have many shared experiences, as mentioned last week. Okay, some people see experience in a positive light. They see life in a positive sense in general. Some people tend to see life in a more negative light. Okay, all this is a choice, as we mentioned last week. Okay, so the body entails the physical senses like eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the physical mind. And then, of course, the sensory objects are that in which we perceive. Okay, sight, sound, taste, touch, and of course, mental dharma. Okay. Likewise, this is possible because of consciousness. So the moment we come into contact with something, the consciousness allows us to have this opportunity to become aware of something. Okay, so as long as we have a mind, we're always going to be conscious, whether we like it or not. Okay. Sometimes we like to drown out in our own fantasies, but the consciousness will never disappear. Okay. So with this consciousness, we become aware of sight, sound, taste, touch, and dharma. The second thing that happens is a very natural thing, sensations. Okay, it's a primordial kind of reaction to the world around us, based on human survival, ecology. Okay, pleasant things we tend to like to gravitate towards, which is the workings of volitions later on. But and things we don't feel pleasant are usually harmful for our existence. So in and of itself, it's nothing wrong. It's just a primordial reaction to life. The problem is what follows, right? When we perceive stuff, it's based on our previous experiences. So if we've created erroneous or half-hearted perceptions of things, and then we make conclusions too early on in the process, then we will only have a lopsided understanding of life. Okay, so we talked about examples in which the incorrect perceptions will lead us to have erroneous reactions through volition. Okay, so the wrong perception would be something like all humans are unequal. Okay, there is no such thing as impermanence. There is no such thing as cause and effect. This would be the ultimate wrong type of perception. Other types of wrong perception is some people are better than other people. Okay, different groups of people should be treated differently. Okay, all this is considered erroneous perception. It leads to problems down the track. Volition is actually what causes a lot of the karma, the karmic qualities of life. Okay, so as we play on our reactions to the life around us, okay, that is what causes trouble. The movement of mind towards and away from something. Okay, so let's say we perceive shoes as something we don't like, right? As something not we don't like, but something that is negative. So every time we see a shoe, the volition will play. The volition will say, yes, I don't like this because it's not good, and so forth. You get the picture. So volition is really powerful in that sense. And then it's a closed circle. when we react to a situation, it forms mental grooves in our lives. So a lot of the habitual tendencies, a lot of what we think and do is conditioned by the volition. It is stored as seeds of a liar, right? Meaning that these seeds of reactions to things, they build up over time. So these reactions build on themselves. Sometimes when we react to life in a positive light, it becomes a good habitual tendency. Likewise, when we react wrongly or erroneously, then of course it goes the other way. So talking about mental grooves, okay, I think for the most part, all of us in life have our own personality traits, right? I'm sure we can all agree on that. We all have different personalities, different ways of dealing with stuff, different ways of, you could say, reacting in some sense, right? So all of this is mental grooves. I think it is. Yeah, it's just facing the wall. Yeah, so as not to be too overly loud this way. Um, yeah, so mental grooves are very powerful. In Buddhism, we say that we have many lifetimes, right? So a lifetime can be considered the lifetime of the physical body. Okay, how long is the lifetime of a physical body on average? 80 years. It's different between genders, but usually around 80 these days. Okay, so that's lifetime. Okay, we can say lifetime in a thought. Okay, we remember that with each rising consciousness is being reborn. So knowing that with every consciousness that arises and ceases in a split second, it's powerful to know that we can make big changes within those arisings and ceasings, right? So in having to conquer our habitual tendencies, we're working on the moment-to-moment fluctuations of our mind. And this is where Buddhist practice becomes very important. This is where the contemplations and the mindfulness of the four bases and vipassana in general becomes overly important. Okay. So in talking about rebirth, right? So let's talk about rebirth as in our physical life, as in 80 years. So what really determines what we are reborn in our next life are three things. Your very heavy karma of the present life or the current life, which means the good or bad that you have done. That is like the fundamental guiding factor. If you've killed a lot of people, if you've engaged in pillage and all that kind of stuff, then of course, unfortunately, the outcome will be respective, right? And when it comes to not having serious karma in that sense, some people are very good people, very generous. They only do good. These people will very quickly ascend to better planes of existence. But for someone who does not necessarily have very strong karma, the next deciding factor is mental habituations. So let's say you always have this tendency towards anger. Okay. In the six realms of existence in Buddhism, we have at the highest, well, not really highest, but six realms of rebirth existence. We have heavenly beings, right? Celestial beings. We have asuras, humans, and of course, we have animal, hungry ghost, hell beings. Okay. People who are always angry, they resemble hell beings. So unfortunately, if our habitual tendencies are always towards anger, then yeah, we better watch out. So the third aspect of rebirth is the very thought before death. Okay, so if you don't have many habitual tendencies, but your final thought upon dying is either positive or negative, then it will have its kind of a relevant rebirth place. Okay, so if we take a step back, let's not talk about next lifetime, it's too far away. Let's talk about our next thought, our next state of being. So if we're trying to always maintain a wholesome outlook on life, if that's constant, then that is what we consider strong karma, strong positive karma, right? If every moment we're trying to adjust our habitual tendencies, then of course we're heading towards the right way. And then we're building momentum towards maintaining that sustainability of wholesome thoughts, right? And of course, we don't have to say your last thought before death, right? But naturally speaking, if your mind is always like that, then there's no chance for the mind to be negative, leading on to the next arising of consciousness. Okay? So it's very complicated, but it can be very simple. Very simple in the sense that our experiences can be changed by our input. Okay? So just like someone who's coding, right? Doing coding as in like programming, right? The type of input you have will drastically result in a different program, right? Likewise with life. The one thing we can work with is perception and volition. Okay, how can we perceive things more clearly without jumping the gun? It means that we take a step back from life always, take 3 deep breaths, and try to see things with a clear mind. Okay, not based on emotions. Like that, right perception will develop. And likewise, when we take a step back and work on the emotions and reactions we have, change them, then of course the volition will be positive. So these 2 aspects of our life can be worked on. Okay, these 2 aspects are what really makes or breaks our practice. So moving on, yes. Okay, very good. So perception is a very automatic process. According to the sutras, it happens at a very small amount of time, in a very small amount of time. So a nanosecond. I'm just giving a random number, but it's in China, in the traditional Sanskrit, it's called a tana. A tana is like how a millionth of a click of a finger. So imagine that it's like faster than the speed of light. So with the speed in which perception happens, it is a natural reaction. But we can change the way we perceive simply by maintaining mindfulness throughout the day. So let's say our mind is deluded by wrong views in life. We think that everything is permanent. We think that there is no cause and effect. So the lens in which we see the world is based on that. And unfortunately, if our minds are not mindful, we're only seeing half of the picture all the time. So let's give ourselves an example. Have there been times in life where you misunderstood someone? Yeah, I'm sure all of us have been in this situation where someone didn't really mean something, but we kind of took it that way because we kind of only saw things at face value, right? And that's because the mind was not receptive enough to the nuances and also to the details of the situation. So this perception, although it's very quick, we can condition it to be more thorough through our daily practice. On the other hand, volition is not a reactive state. It is an active state. It is the decision making. It is the mental actions of moving towards, gravitating towards things and turning away from things. So it's a very active mental state. So this is the biggest difference between perception, recognizing things around us, which is reactive, and taking action after recognizing things and situations. Okay, so the volition part is the culprit when it comes to creating karma. Okay, so it is the thought that arises based on the conditioned aspects of the mind. Okay, a lot of these reactions are informed by mental habituations, and all this is part of volition. It's very complicated. Mental habituations, current active mental states that we partake in as we recognize experiences, and then of course the ensuing actions of body and speech, which further reinforce particular volitions. Okay, physical and verbal actions are just manifestations of the mind from a Buddhist perspective. So we act out, we further strengthen something. Okay, so let's say we have a bad habit of hitting people, right? Maybe at first what happens is we give rise to a mind of anger in reaction to something, volition, right? And then we play out with physical and verbal actions. What that is doing is at a very coarse level of the mind, reinforcing stuff. But the moment we stop by saying, okay, I'm angry, but I'm not going to hit someone, I'm not going to say something out of anger. What we're doing is at least regulating the mind in its coarse manifestation. Okay. And then later through meditation, when we become more mindful of our mental states, then naturally we're able to, although negative thought volitions have arisen, we are able to transform them just by making a decision to transform them. It's as easy as that. Okay. Once that happens, we're dealing with the active manifestations of the mind. And through very, very deep meditation, even before active mental states arise, we're able to catch it at the very primordial level, the latent level of what we consider mental habituation. So even before the mental action of anger arises, we catch it and we transform it. Okay, so that's the difference between perception and volition. Okay, perception has no moral quality. It just gives you the wrong lens to view the world, whereas volition is the actual culprit when it comes to karma, wholesome and negative. Okay. So last week we talked about vipassana, or we introduced vipassana, which is pretty much the contemplation of truths. Okay, the observation of the truths and the clear comprehension of the truths. So what we're going to talk about in recap is that mindfulness or bare awareness and clear comprehension are slightly different. And the difference is in the fact that with mindfulness, it's just becoming aware of something, aware of your sensations, for example, hot, cold, stiff, loose, painful, pleasant, okay, that kind of thing. Even with your thoughts, racing thoughts, still thoughts, and you don't take anything to heart. With clear comprehension, okay, it's a little bit different. It's a situation where in our everyday life, we have already internalized the Dharma. Okay, the three aspects of the Dharma seals that are so important to Buddhist practice. To fully internalize and to accept the fact that everything is impermanent is the first thing. Okay, so with impermanence, there's another truth that arises, non-self. Okay, if we could take control of life, there would be no impermanence. If we could control things, then impermanence would be a fallacy, right? So because of our understanding of impermanence, we are inspired to see that everything, animate, inanimate, do not have a autonomous self that can take control of itself. Okay. We talked about it last week, right? The more we try to have attachments to the way we want things to be, the more suffering we have, because life doesn't always play out that way, right? Likewise, when we have too much of an expectation and attachment to things, when we lose those things, then unfortunately there's a lot of pain involved. We have goals in life. We are too attached to the final goal without looking at the process, without enjoying the journey. Sometimes we don't get there. There's a lot of suffering. So what Buddhism tells us is bring your attention to the present moment and the causing conditions of the present moment and build your way to success, both spiritually and conventionally, okay? So clear comprehension also includes the third aspect of the Dharma seal, which is the understanding that over-attachment to self creates a lot of suffering. Okay, so Buddhism's focus on suffering is not purely an end. It is a mean to the end. Okay. The talking about suffering is not trying to make us nihilistic people, but it's to inspire us that there are ways out of suffering. Yeah, so I think for the Buddha, in this regard, his focus on suffering at the beginning was bringing the truth of impermanence and non-self to our everyday experiences. Okay. I can confidently say that all people would like to be free of suffering. Who likes to suffer? Okay, no one? Okay, it seems like you're all normal people. There are some people who like suffering, right? Believe it or not. People who are a little bit, yeah, it is a good teacher. It depends how we see it, right? So suffering of self is a good teacher. It inspires us to work away from suffering, right? And there are many ways to do that. When we see the suffering of others, we are inspired to give rise to the mind of Bodhi, the wish to liberate all beings from suffering. So in using suffering as the focal point, it's not to say that life is full of suffering, give up, there's no hope out of suffering. It's not like that. It's more like the suffering, right? It's a situation of life. Okay. We need to move away from it. So the basic model of the four bases of mindfulness is to become aware of this, become aware of the causes of suffering so that we can address them. Okay. On the flip side, when it comes to Mahayana Buddhism, we don't talk that much about suffering. We look at it from a positive note. So we say the truth of nirvana, the ability to liberate away from suffering. So just different perspectives of the same topic at mind. Okay. So clear comprehension sees the world naturally through this lens. So we adopt this mentality that everything we see the Dharma in it, right? We see that, oh, yes, there's a lot of impermanence. Okay? There's a lot of non-self in us and around us. There are many things that is out of our control, but our reaction to the impermanence of life is in our control with our volition. Okay, so one of our students in person had talked about attachments, not just to self, but to things. Okay, so in Buddhism, we have many types of attachments. Attachment to the I, and then attachment to things, phenomena. The central word is dharma for that, like anything and everything, ichefa, everything. So when we talk about dharmas, it could be inanimate things and animate things and people and self, right? So for the most part of human relations, Buddhism does not deny the importance of human relationships, such as spouses, children, and the parents, and so forth. This is a very natural part of life. And we know that Buddhism does not reject the idea of relationships because a lot of the sutras in the Nikayas, they talk about how to maintain harmonious relationships. Like the Sigalavoda Sutra talks about how to have relationships with your parents, with the rulers, with your teachers, and so forth, your siblings and whatnot. So the thing is, the way we see our relationships, right? The moment we feel that our children are our objects of possession, when we think, oh, my son, my daughter is mine, when your son and your daughter doesn't do what you want to do, it is a direct threat to your ego. You'll get upset. But to see spouses, to see children as a coming together of affinities and cherishing the fact that you have come together because of affinities. But at the same time, understanding that you don't own those people. You don't own your husband or wife. You don't own your children. You embark on a journey of life with them, right? So if they change, if you change, we respect that, right? When they do things that is contrary to your wishes, we respect that. It's simply because we are not them, right? We are not even ourselves. What part of yourselves are you, right? At any one moment, you have like, let's say you have 1 billion cells right now. The next second you have 999 million. Is that 100? Yeah, that's right. Something like that. My math is bad. So you can see that at any one time, even your physical body is not yours. Everything changes. Your physical body now is probably 50 years old. 1 second later, it's 50 years old plus 1 second. Okay, things have changed. Your thoughts have changed, right? So in having said that, if you cannot even own yourself, how can we own others? It's reality, right? Sometimes it's not people. Sometimes it's our career, right? We try to take ownership of our career, which is a journey itself with many variables. Once we realize that we can cherish our career and make the most of it, but understand that there are many factors in our career which is out of our control, and just be happy at the fact that the moment we focus on the present moment and observe all the details is the moment we can better understand what is necessary towards success. So that's the beauty about Buddhist practice. The focus is not just on escaping the world. It's more so how, through meditation and through wisdom, we can better understand each moment of life, make the right decisions informed by wisdom instead of emotion, right? And like that, not only are we enjoying the journey of life, we are making the right decisions without jumping the gun on our perceptions and working negatively with our volitions. Right? I hope that answers your question. Okay, the next part is the difference between bare awareness and conceptual investigation. Talked about last week. So bare awareness means bringing to mind the different aspects of the experience, right? Based on the 4 bases of mindfulness. And this does not say that we don't have the Dharma seals that we look through. It just means that we're not actively using the mind to scrutinize and analyze. Okay, so for the 4 bases of mindfulness, the first 3, okay, which is mindfulness of the body, sensations, and mind itself, are pretty much just clear comprehension through understanding the 3 Dharma seals. It is only when we reach the last one, the mental dharmas, okay, only at that point do we, in very deep meditation, engage in conceptual investigation. We're trying to use the Dharma to scrutinize our misunderstandings of things, to scrutinize the formation of suffering itself. Okay, it's very powerful. Okay, it's like putting an axe to suffering. I think we all enjoy that, right? Take it out on suffering. And you'll be happy about it. So that's our recap of last week's class. So for this week, we're going to continue by talking in detail, or a little bit more detail, regarding the body, okay, the coarse understanding of the psychosomatic self, okay, body and mind connection, right? And then sensations, okay, the pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, which are just nothing more than that. Okay, so we will be talking about how we can engage in clear comprehension of these 2. So with the body, we can engage in mindfulness of breathing, which is what we have been doing so far. You see a very clear connection between a calm state of mind and a calm breath, and vice versa. When we have a calm breath, the mind slowly calms down. Okay, so we understand this. Postures of the body. This is one part of meditation practice that takes us away from the meditation cushion. Okay. So in Buddhism, we say that there are 4 postures. I think we've talked about it. What are the 4? What are the 4? Can someone help me understand the 4 postures? Okay. Do we stand in life? Yeah, we stand. So standing is a posture. Do we walk? Yeah, we walk. Do we sit down? Yes. Do we lie down? Yes. 4 postures. As we maintain a subtle mindfulness based on clear comprehension in our everyday life, it is a very transformative process to understand impermanence. Okay, to understand that now I'm sitting, but even with sitting, every moment our body is moving very, very slightly, so we can notice the changes of our posture. When we are washing the dishes, we see a dynamic change of impermanence, changes in our postures as we wash the dishes. Okay, and then you see impermanence in it, right? You're driving, you see that your posture and your spatial situation is changing every split second. Okay, and just embracing it, understanding it without giving too much thought, to passing too much judgment, right? Just become aware of it. When you're walking, it's the same thing, and so forth. So there are many instances in which we can focus on the postures of our body in our everyday life, right? What it does is it takes us away from having a mind that tries to grasp outside of the present moment. Okay, it anchors us in the here and now. Okay, likewise, everything you do, using the bathroom, going to sleep, all that is considered a posture. Okay, very powerful. The next practice is especially helpful if we have a lot of attachment to either our appearance or our bodies. Okay, some people have too much of an attachment that they go extremely out of their way to maintain their looks, the youthful looks, or the health, right? So some people take bucket loads of supplements. Some people spend a lot of money on healthcare, on cosmetics. That's the one. Yeah, that word has not come in my mind for a long time. And I think we can all be guilty of spending thousands every year just on cosmetics. But the matter of the fact is, we're not going to change our longevity because of it, right? So in a world where we are encouraged to look young, is kind of going against the nature of things. In Buddhism, what you are is what you are, right? If you're getting old, that's what it is. There's no judgment to it. There's nothing wrong with it. We shouldn't like it. We shouldn't dislike it. It's just a natural part of life. So imagine if today we didn't have to worry about shaving your legs. We didn't have to worry about putting skincare on. People would just be natural beings, right? There'll be less attachment. But unfortunately, people need to make money. So people incentivize looking young and all that. Yeah. Building your body to make you look fit. In all honesty, right? Like it's all just access, right? So reflections on the constituents of the body remind us of the innate, you could say, impermanence as well as the innate filth of the body, right? So in Buddhism, there are 32 constituents of the body: the bones, the marrow, the phlegm, the blood, all that kind of stuff, right? The nice stuff of the body. And when you contemplate on that, then naturally we let go of too much attachment to our physical form. Likewise, we contemplate on aging. Okay, so that is also something that can really take us away from mundane attachments to our physical body. Okay. And okay, in Buddhism, there was a story, which is true, that there's actually a practice of the impurity of the body. There are 9 stages of that. And why the Buddha actually warned against this practice is because there were enlightened beings, arhats, who practiced this and practiced this to the point where they were perfect at it. But yes, they got so attached to the body that they thought, now that my mind is enlightened, I don't need this body. So they got rid of it. They got rid of the body, right? In Buddhism, there's a middle path. We need to maintain ideal health so that we can carry out our life and we can carry out our spiritual mission. But there's a fine line between needs and wants, right? So in order to maintain a healthy body, we can do more for others. We can do more for our own spiritual practice. So there are many practices that lead to good health. So it's very different from being overly attached to the body as opposed to maintaining it so we can make the most of it. Okay. So that's pretty much that. So Buddhism does not dismiss the importance of the body, but more so to reduce the attachment to the body. Okay. Very shortly, I'll be even teaching you a technique to bring health. Okay, a breath technique. Ooh, 10 o'clock. We better move on. Time is impermanent. Okay, mindfulness of sensations. Pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant. So when we meditate, sometimes we can use this as our focal point, right? To feel that, oh, when I'm crossing my legs, I feel my legs are sleeping. I feel some pain. Okay, and just understand that it's either pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. To become aware that it's an impermanent feeling. So there is no need to invest volition. Okay. So all of us go through pain. We've all been to the dentist. We've all been through the pain of that. There's two ways you can react to it. You can take it as it is without passing judgment and not attaching too much emotion to it, and just know that this is a process, right? And it'll pass. As opposed to investing a lot of emotion into that particular sensation. So the ability to be mindful of the fluctuations of sensations help us to detach our emotions from them, right? So that the extreme heat, we can take it as just a matter of fact. Obviously, we don't kill ourselves. We don't say, okay, it's hot. I'm not going to take off my clothes. It's more like, it's hot. I acknowledge it's hot, but I'm not going to let it affect me emotionally, right? We do things to maintain health in heat, drink more water, wear less clothes, but we're not going to be emotionally invested in it. Likewise, if it's too cold, we do what is necessary to keep warm, but we don't become overly invested in the emotions that come with it. So as we become mindful of these sensations, we become better informed as to how to react. Okay. And these sensations change every split second. The pain is not a pain that is constant. Every split second, that pain fluctuates, right? Even to understand that makes us appreciate the fact that things change, right? So this is all for mindfulness of body and as well as sensation. These practices can be done when you reach a level of meditation when the mind is still. Then you can start to bring these themes into your mind, okay? So I know that for meditation, getting into the zone takes physical health and mental health, right? So instead of jumping right into the practices, now that we've done it for a few weeks, some people have done it for much longer, we're going to look at 2 ways of the 6 breathing techniques mentioned in the Tian Tai school of Buddhist meditation. Tian Tai, right? Which is a Chinese reduction of ceasing and contemplating of the Abhidharma. So a lot of the tiredness that we have in life, there could be many factors, but in general terms, a lot of it has to do with our liver health, right? Our spleen health, they say, in Chinese medicine. So there are breathing techniques which help to stimulate the qi in that area. Okay, so in Buddhist meditation, there are many breathing ratios, we should say. Okay, the ratio, duration of breathing in, duration of holding the breath, and duration of exhalation. So as of now, Buddhist meditators, especially in the Chinese tradition, they focus on the 1-4-2. 1 part breathing in, 4 parts holding your breath, 2 parts exhaling. So let's say we breathe in 1, 2. How long do we have to hold your breath for? 1, 4, 2. So it's 2, 8, 4, right? So you hold it for 8, you exhale, it's 4, 4. So that's normal, right? Normal people do like 2, 8, and 4. At least it's good for beginners. So what you do is, for our breathing techniques, You breathe in, hold your breath, and when you exhale, there are certain ways to breathe out to stimulate certain areas of the organs of the body. So let's say you're tired constantly. You find it very difficult to even sit for half an hour because you fall asleep. Okay, you might want to consider trying stimulating the liver qi. Okay, so can everyone do this for me? Shh. That's it. That's all you have to do on your out breath. Okay, so there's two traditions. One says you have to do the actual sound like shoo, and then contemplate on the area that we're stimulating, which is the liver. Where's the liver? Just below the tummy, the stomach, right? So some people say you have to use the physical sound of shoo and focus on that point. But there is another tradition which we are more part of. Okay, we do it silent and also focus on that part. Okay, so essentially it's kind of like it's like that. Okay, so it's probably easier for us. We're all accustomed to that, especially if you live with children. Okay, so let's try. Breathe in with your nose, only using your nose, and then breathing all the way into the abdomen, into the diaphragm. Okay, put your hand on your diaphragm and see if it rises when you breathe in. Hold your breath. So let's say we breathe in 1, 2. Hold your breath 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the out breath, shh, for 4 counts. Okay. Do not overdo the out breath. Otherwise, it works to the contrary of trying to stimulate the qi. It will over exert the qi, which results in Chinese, they call it shu. In English, it's lack of energy. Okay. The next one. So if you're tired and you don't know why, you rest, you sleep a lot, but you're not just getting it. You're not getting the mental acuity and alertness. You can try this before meditation or just in your everyday life. If your mind is overly active, and no matter how much walking meditation you're doing, no matter how much slow walking meditation you're doing, it's just not happening. Remember how we have the golden technique, adjust the body, the breath, the mind. If the breathing is not doing it in conjunction with the walking meditation, we have to deal with the body, right? The next one is for the mind, which cannot stop. Okay. So let's try making the audible sound. And become mindful. Which area of the body is vibrating? Don't force it, just let it come out naturally. Okay, which area is vibrating most? Chest as well as throat. Primarily throat. Okay. So there's a pressure point here or a channel here, which is to do with the mind. So if you constantly feel that you have a dry throat, especially when you're all stressed up, okay, you know how people, when they give presentations, they get thirsty, right? It's because their mind is overworking. And a symptom of that is getting thirsty. So when we try to relax the mind, you can feel that vibration in this area, right? And then sometimes that area is quite big. So what we're trying to do is the silent version of this. So this is loud, this is audible. And this is the silent one. Okay. Also visualizing the vibrations of this area. Okay. So this is if your mind is crazily busy. Okay. So time is of the essence. What we're going to do standing meditation for relaxation, body scan, and then I'm going to give yourselves about 5 minutes to choose your method. Okay, whatever you feel is most necessary at this point, and then do it for 5 minutes. Okay, 1-4-2. Yeah, so 1-4-2 is the ratio. But normally we don't breathe in one shot, right? It's like two counts. Breathing in 1-2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Choose your method and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's probably a good duration to start off with. Some people do longer, like um, instead of two, like 1-4-2, it's not 2-8-4, but it's actually more. Some people can do more. But to be safe, the vibration. Yeah. So if it's the liver, you can focus on that area, right? You can focus on the entire chest or a particular area, right? You'll feel that vibration without trying, right? You can feel that naturally the body works in its own way where when you do that particular sound, it will vibrate certain areas. So don't try to control the vibrations, but let it be, but become aware of it. Remember the golden key, awareness brings chi to that area, energy, right? And then here as well for the liver, for the mind. Okay, are we ready? Okay, let's all stand up. Going to adjust this, otherwise half of my head is gone. Okay, stand at shoulder width. Relax the entire body. Wear a gentle smile, and take 3 deep breaths. In from the nose, into the abdomen, and open your mouth to exhale. Breathing in, we visualize bright light of wisdom and compassion permeating throughout the body. And as we exhale, the impurity and tension. Do this for 3 times. And wearing a gentle smile, bring your focus to the top of your head as we relax all the muscles on your scalp. Relaxing the forehead, relaxing all the muscles surrounding the eye cavity, relaxing the ears, relaxing your nose and navel cavity, visualizing those ligaments letting go of tension. Relax the jaw, the tongue, muscles in your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands completely relaxing. The top of the spine relaxing downwards. Allow the pelvis to relax and unlock the pelvis by letting the tailbone drop backwards a little bit. Continue to relax your thighs, your knees. Let the knees drop forward a little bit. The calves, ankles, and feet completely relaxing. Wearing a gentle smile, we allow all the tension in the body to completely relax. Slowly bring your focus to the abdomen as we observe the rise and fall. As our minds become mindful of a small point that you assign to yourself. Remember, for men, it's going to be 2 finger width distance down from the belly button. For ladies, it's going to be 2 finger width distance above the belly button. Try to pinpoint a small area. And then as we breathe in and out, we feel that with this acuity of our focus, it is the entire body breathing. The entire body is expanding and deflating. As we continue to focus on that small point, we can feel that the pores of the skin are opening and we are breathing through the pores of the skin. If your focus wavers, remember to remind yourself, what should I be focusing right now on? Alas, it is that small point that I have designated to myself to focus on. And now slowly transition to the breathe 8 for a recap for those who need to work on the busy. And then for those who feel that you're overly tired, you focus on the area of the liver. We will conclude the breathing with 3 deep breaths. As we exhale, wear a gentle smile and visualize expelling the remaining tension and stale air from the body. And visualizing that the trapped heat inside the body is expelling with the exhalation through the skin. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes, reorientate, and take a seat. We will now get ready for sitting meditation. So put yourself in the seated posture as mindfully as possible. So put your hands in the, if you have glasses, you can take them off. Have your hands in the meditation mudra. Straighten your back, relax your shoulders, push them back slightly. Tuck in the chin so that the neck is against your collar. Rest the tips of your tongues against the palate. This will aid in the flow of energy. And rest your eyes by closing them. Or if you feel that you're going to get tired, you can keep them slightly open and fix your gaze on a point about 4 or 5 feet in front of you. A very gentle gaze. For today's sitting session, you may choose to focus on the breath and use your technique that is most suitable right now. And you may also, after a while, choose to focus on the body or the sensations and see that sensation through the eyes of clear comprehension. If the mind wanders, remember to remind yourself, what should I be doing right now? And bring your attention back. At 3 strikes of the wooden fish, we'll begin, and 1 strike to conclude. Keeping your eyes closed, take 3 deep breaths. Slowly and mindfully bend your body forwards. Be aware of everything that is happening with the body. And backwards, forwards, and then recenter. Tilt to the left, and then to the right, left again, recenter. We are going to turn to the left, and then to the right, and then we're going to recenter as we rotate the body clockwise. And then anti-clockwise. And recenter. Put your 2 palms together and rub your palms in a circular motion, nice and fast until it's warm. And place your palms over your eyes to massage. Continue to massage your scalp, and then your ears and neck. Again, rub your palms. Just over your hands, your arms to massage your shoulders, arms, and forearms. Rub your palms. And with the flexibility of your wrists to pat down your chest and abdomen. And then your thighs, knees, and calves. And then your lower back, bottom. Okay. We're going to rub a palm again. And massage your lower back. Breathing in deeply and bending forward. Holding your breath, bending backwards and exhale. Again. Rub, breathe in, bend down, bend backwards and exhale. Again. Rub, breathe in deeply, bend down, bend backwards, exhale. And now slowly and mindfully wrap your towels. And when you are ready to slowly release your feet, one at a time. Remember to give your feet a wriggle. Then put on your shoes straight away. Allow yourself to wriggle your ankles a little bit to avoid stagnation of the chi. And this brings us to the end of today's session. Time is of the essence. One question. Just one question if there is. You can sit down and do it. So basically for this particular technique, you can be seated. We just did it standing out of convenience. So you can practice this any place, anywhere. And in regards to the sitting, there are other breathing techniques that does require sitting. But for this one, not compulsory, but it could help if you sit down. So there are 6 methods. Today we're covering the 2 which are most commonly used. And in the future, we can talk about the others. So liver is a common issue for us. In this day and age, sleeping before 10 is impossible. Like really, the struggle is real. 10 o'clock, what's 10 o'clock, right? That's impossible. Okay, so liver is one thing. That's why we always get tired, because the liver is not recuperating enough. The mind, we have to multitask in today's modern society. So these 2 are the biggies when it comes to the ailments of the body and the mind. Okay, so that's a very mindfully put on our shoes. When we say mindfully, the more softer you can do it, the better. And then we're going to finish with the dedication of merits. So let's all face the slide as we read together. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build to benefit all beings. May chant, pure land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows. Okay, so we'll finish here. And for those who need to go to the Buddhist service, you can head up to the pagoda. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. There's no class next week because we have a major Dharma service, the Medicine Buddha Dharma service. Okay, thank you.